Hello, everyone. My name is Seth, and today I'm going to give you my review of Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. Mission Impossible has been a film franchise that has been going on longer than I've been alive. It came out just a few months before I was born. The first one did. Here we are with number 7 in the franchise, Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. Part 2, theoretically, is going to come out next year. We'll see what happens with all the actors on strike and everything. We'll see. But theoretically, it still has a 2024 release date. But before I go any farther, go ahead and like this video, hit subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss a video. I'm just going to jump right into it and give you no questions about what I think about this movie. This is absolutely an incredible movie. I love this movie so much. After it was over, I just had to sit in the theater while the credits rolled and just soak everything in and just contemplate everything. This is why you go to the movie theaters. This is probably my favorite Mission Impossible movie, and this might be my favorite movie of the year so far. Again, I don't want to let recency bias kind of creep in to my analysis here, but it is so good. And as of right now, if you were to ask me, I would probably say that this is my favorite movie of the year. Everyone from top to bottom is literally at the top of their games in this. First, I just want to start off with a couple of negatives, since the rest of the video will be me praising this movie for how awesome it is. And these are kind of negatives I had to dig deep to find. The first negative is toward the beginning, there's just kind of an exposition dump. And I mean, that really is kind of what it is. It's just like an exposition dump. Maybe they could have found a better way around explaining it, but they don't spend a ton of time on it. They basically just say, hey, here's this thing, and go. So that's a little nitpick. And then another one would be maybe like the kind of third tier characters, not even like the secondary characters, like maybe like the tertiary characters. Maybe they weren't fleshed out enough. Maybe they could have been fleshed out a little bit more. But again, they're not even the secondary characters, and they absolutely serve their purpose here. But if you're just talking about teeny tiny nitpicks, maybe that's one, but I don't know. I was really struggling to come up with things to really say that they didn't accomplish as well in this. Just really, like I said, from top to bottom, the whole movie is awesome. Like I said, there's just so much good in this movie. If you have not seen it already, I highly recommend you seeing it. This just, like I said, is a reason why you go to movie theaters. All of the action in this is just absolutely amazing. There's this car chase in Rome. Like I've said in like the past couple of reviews with Mission Impossible Fallout and with Indiana Jones, I'm not really a big car chase person. If they were all done like they were here, then maybe I would say that I am, because I absolutely loved this car chase here in Rome. And they did something I feel like kind of unique, and they almost like gave you breaks in between the action in this car chase, and it worked really well. And they threw in some humor that really worked for me, and that was just a really incredible sequence. And of course, another thing I got to bring up about the action being amazing is the end sequence was just awesome. It was done so well, and they just keep topping themselves in this movie. Like, you think, oh, well, this can't get any crazier. Well, guess what? It does. And it's just such great action. Like, it has you on the edge of your seat, and they build tension so incredibly well. And there's also a sequence in an airport. I'd say it's just about perfect. There's so much going on really in the whole movie, but like particularly here in this airport sequence. Like there's like 4 or 5 different things going on at the same time. And you see kind of some of the characters trying to focus on one, then switch back to the other. And it's just so well done because you never get lost in what's going on. You know exactly where everybody is. You know exactly what everybody's doing. And that would be easy for lesser filmmakers to kind of make it more confusing, not on purpose, and kind of leave the audience not exactly knowing what to focus on, not exactly knowing where characters are, what motivations are, things like that. But they do such a good job here of just kind of wrangling all of these different elements, and it just works so well. It's one of my favorite sequences in the whole movie. And I mentioned it in my Mission Impossible Fallout review, but I'm going to say it again here. This movie just shows why Mission Impossible has become like the ultimate action spy thriller franchise. The writing of this script is really fantastic, and there's a lot of really good, just solid filmmaking done here, and the script is really timely. I'm not going to go into too many details about it, but it addresses some of the things kind of going on in the world now, which is really incredible because you got to think they started writing this script 4 or 5 years ago, probably. And so just the way everything lines up and how timely the script is, it's just really cool. One thing I was worried about going into this was, are they going to tell a full story? Will this feel satisfying at the end, since it is part 1 and we know part 2 is coming maybe a year later? It absolutely does tell a complete story. I'm so happy to say that. When it got to the end, I was really satisfied, and I was really happy with how everything wrapped up. You definitely can tell that there's going to be a part 2, but it's not necessarily like a cliffhanger. It tells a complete story while having you 100% excited and ready for the next part of the story. And in terms of some of the filmmaking, I absolutely love how they decided to shoot these. It's just like, if they need something, they just go build it and shoot, or they go find a location and they shoot it. The realness of everything really adds to this movie, and it's added to the other previous Mission Impossible movies as well. I mean, it's just something like, oh, you need Tom Cruise to go jump off a cliff? Sure, let's go out and shoot that. Like, that's just really, really cool. And the moment, you see it in the trailer where he jumps off the side of the cliff, that moment in the movie, like, it just hits. And that is just a highlight moment of the movie. They did not give anything away, really, in the trailers. Like, you know it's coming, you know you have the build up, but when it actually happens in the movie, it's just like my jaw hit the floor. Now, there's a few bits in this movie where they let the filmmaking do the talking. They don't have a ton of dialogue. They use maybe like Dutch angles, they use color, they use atmosphere, things like that to tell you how to feel, to tell you what's going on in the story. Christopher McQuarrie did just an absolute amazing job directing this. And he's turned into a director where I'm probably going to want to watch anything that he's attached to. Now, moving on to talk about characters, you got to mention Tom Cruise. This is his franchise. And like I mentioned in my Mission Impossible Fallout review, go check that out if you haven't. He is just so good as Ethan Hunt. And he just is such a good, like, action spy hero. And in this film, they actually give Ethan Hunt a bit more emotion, a bit more character moments than they did in Fallout, and I thought that was handled really well. And I'm talking about some of the other returning cast. Although guys like Ving Rhames and Simon Pegg, maybe they didn't have as many like signature moments in this film as maybe they've had in some of the other ones, They both did such a really good job, and they're part of what makes this franchise great. I can't imagine these films going forward without either one of Ving Rhames or Simon Pegg. Like, I really wish we got to see Ving Rhames in more stuff. Like, somebody cast him in like everything. I would be here for the Ving Rhames cinematic universe. Rebecca Ferguson is really great in this. She's good in basically everything I've ever seen her in. She's a really great performer. I wish that she had a little bit more to do in this. I wish we got a little bit more from her character in this, but what they did with her character I thought was really unexpected, I guess I would say, and she did a great job in the time that she had in this movie. One of the big shining stars in this movie is Haley Atwell. She did such a good job. I didn't know what to expect from her character going into this, but I absolutely think that she kind of stole the show a little bit. I absolutely loved her character, and she was more than a welcomed addition to this franchise. Her character just fits right in, and I feel like it's a little bit unique, something we haven't quite seen before in this group, and it's just so good, and she does such a good job playing this character. She just gives a really good performance, and like I said, she steals just about every scene she's in. I love what they do with her character. I love her character arc in this story, and I can't wait to see what lies in store in future installments for her character. And this performance from her kind of makes me think she might would be like a good Catwoman in the DC universe. Pom Klementieff had a smaller role in this, but she did a really good job with what she was given. And I never thought I would say that she was ever intimidating, but Pom was a little bit intimidating in this movie. It was really cool to kind of see that side of her. Continuing on with some of the characters, I really like seeing Vanessa Kirby in this. She's great in everything, and just having her in this franchise as a character like this, she just adds a lot to kind of the whole Mission Impossible world, and I love seeing her in these movies. And as far as the villain, you have the villain and the entity. Not going to say too much about it. I want you guys to go see this movie. But the villain and the entity, like, it makes for a really interesting antagonist, and it really makes your heroes think, and it really throws them out of their comfort zone. And that's exactly what you want. You want your characters to never feel comfortable, and they do that here. But overall, I got to say, this movie is amazing. I've gushed about it for the past, I don't know, however many minutes, and I was really blown away. My best friend who I saw it with, he was blown away by it. After we got out, he said, this was just such a good time at the movie theaters. I got to come back. And that's exactly what this kind of movie is. Like, it's a fun time at the theater. You're going to have a good time, and you're going to have fun, but you're also going to see like a really good movie with expert filmmaking, great performances. It's just all around a really good time. Like, I think this movie is really for everybody. I absolutely can't wait for part 2. I'm hoping that both the writers and the actors can get what they deserve from the studios, and that we can get back to making movies so we don't have to wait for more awesome movies like this and like for part 2. I'm so excited for part 2. I'm hoping that gets to stick in that June 2024 release date, but we'll see. I can't recommend this movie enough. This is a movie you're just gonna love to see in theaters. Just seeing it on the big screen is just something special. I have to give this a 5 out of 5 stars. Like, really, I had to dig to find some nitpicks about it that I maybe didn't like, but it's just amazing to me how each time with these Mission Impossible movies, it seems like they top themselves every single time, and they just deliver a great movie here. So that's it. That's my review of Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. Let me know in the comment section below what you thought of it. Did you like it as much as I did? Did you potentially see some things that you didn't like about it that I haven't noticed? Let me know in the comment section down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Go ahead and like this video, hit subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss a video. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Threads, wherever, @CinemaSeth, and I'll see you next time.